For Every Second Matters, September 2022, I want to talk about the easiest, least expensive thing that everybody who cares about our liberty can do in order to protect the Second Amendment, and that is vote. If you're not registered to vote, then get registered to vote. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't take a long time. It's easy to do. If you only vote in the presidential elections every 4 years, or the presidential elections and the midterms every 2 years, get out there and vote in your primaries. Get out there and vote in your special elections. Here in Michigan, we've got to go to the polls 4 times this year. We had primaries for the special election, then we had a special election, then we've had primaries, and next we're going to have the midterms. So that's a lot more effort than just showing up for the final election in November. And I understand people will say things like, I don't have time, or it's too far to drive, or whatever it is. It's just an excuse. It really is. There is no reason why, if you care about your liberty, you would not show up to every election. It's easy to go online and find out where your polling location is if you've never voted before, or just to make sure that they didn't move it, because I've had the polling location moved on me before. It is not that far. I mean, unless you live in the most rural place in the world, I guess. You know, I don't believe in the excuses people give why they don't vote. It starts in the morning, ends in the evening. I work long hours and I work the odd shift, and I'm still able to make time to vote. I've literally voted driving, on the way to work. And if I'm going to be late that day for it, it's worth it. It really is. But people all the time ask, what can I do? What can I do? Or they use excuses like, I don't want to spend any money, or I don't have the money to spend, or I don't have the time to give, or I don't want to end up on any list. Well, voting is the easiest, least expensive thing that you can do, and you were probably already doing it anyhow. Now, the reason I say vote in your primaries is to vote these motherfuckers out who don't have our best interests in mind. They know that not as many people are going to show up for the primaries, so they're going to end up in a position to get reelected, and then people are going to go with the name that's familiar, or they're going to go with the party they go with, even if they don't like what this person did last time around. It's better than the other guy, right? The whole lesser of two evils, which some people don't want to hear. But that's the truth about it. This is how these people get reelected. If you voted for this person, or you voted for this person again and again, and they sold out the Second Amendment, you vote them out in the primaries. But you got to show up to vote in order to make a difference. But here's the thing. I've heard people say since the last election, over the past 2 years, that they don't think that their vote mattered. It didn't count and it didn't matter, because there was blatant, obvious fraud committed last time around. There absolutely was. I'm not afraid to admit it. It didn't happen everywhere, but it happened enough places that they were able to commit fraud. And the main reason it happened wasn't because of some voting machine. It wasn't because of voter turnout. There's a lot of people that seem to think that there wasn't voter turnout. It didn't have anything to do with that. What happened is they had the support of the opposing party, because there's really, at that level, there's only 2 parties in power. Maybe at the state or local level, independents have some involvement, but where they knew they had the support, where they knew they could get away with it, and where they knew it would matter, they committed the fraud in order to control the election, and the other party let them do it. They turned a blind eye. They turned their back. They, hands over their ears, close their eyes, la, 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 I can't hear you, can't see you. And they did it for one reason and one reason only. They wanted to get the top person in their party out, because this person from before they got elected wouldn't play ball. So they got rid of him, even if it meant that they lost some local and state elections, or that they let the other side get away with it. This time around, there isn't anybody they're trying to get rid of. So this time around, they're not playing ball. This time around, they want to get elected or reelected, and they are not going to allow fraud to happen. And if you look at the campaigns that have already been out there this year from the side that is desperate to stay in power and desperate to get more power. Some of the things that they are claiming their opponents have been doing, absolute total lies, and some of the campaign promises they're making and things like that, they're desperate this time around. And the reason they're desperate, look at their ads, the reason they're desperate is they know they're not going to get that cooperation. So if you're disenfranchised and you're out there saying, last time I voted is the last time I'm ever going to vote because it isn't going to matter, it's going to matter. Get up off your ass and get out there and vote, and keep voting in future elections. That is the easiest, least expensive way that you can help defend the Second Amendment. I'm not saying fraud won't happen from time to time, or it won't happen in certain places in small ways. And I'm not saying that widespread fraud might not ever happen again. But if you're going to let that keep you from showing up to the polls, then they've won. They got what they wanted. They got what they wanted, and they're going to keep having control. And you're helping. You're helping them to take away all of our liberties. So it's something to keep in mind. The elections are coming. You need to get up off your ass and get out there and make a difference. Vote 2A. Because if you don't vote 2A, you ain't 2A. Thanks for listening.